Good morning and happy Friday. One VA dude here this morning. Greetings from Central Virginia. Yes, I'm wearing my Army shirt. No, I am not in the Army. I was many, many, many years ago. I got my discharge more than 3 decades ago, but this is just a PT shirt that they use more recently. I've had it for a while. I can still fit into it. So, hey, give the old guy a break. But what I wanted to discuss today was last night, the forces of the Israeli military did a preemptive strike against Iran. I'm seeing a lot of comments on various social media outlets saying, they were bad, they were good, they shouldn't have done this, they should have done it long ago, and everything in between. And essentially, when your enemy swears to kill you and annihilate you and that they're building a nuclear weapon to do it, you should probably take them at their word. Um, was this a good time for the Israelis to do that? I don't know. It's hard for me to fault them for doing it, but this is scary because, the Iranians have a lot of friends. They've got the Chinese and um, other Muslim nations in the area, maybe the Russians. I don't know. They'll see that we are allies with Israel and they'll try and take their anger out on us. But Iran is kind of an odd duck. It's a Muslim nation. They're Shiite Muslims. Most of the other nations around there are Arabs. Iranians are not Arabs, the Persians, but the other people around there are Sunni Arabs for the most part, and they're Arabs. I'm sorry, they're Muslims and they're Arabs, but the Iranians are Muslims but not Arabs, but they're also different kind of Muslims. So you got that dynamic going on. But nevertheless, uh, if you're an Israeli, just think of it's an existential threat to your mere existence. You've got the terrorists in Gaza with Hamas. You've got that group up to their no good. So it's not a good place to be. So, but the Iranian government is different than the Iranian people. The Iranian people don't wish for all Israelis to be dead. In fact, most of the Iranian people are pro-Western. They like Americans. They like Israelis. They don't. They're not full of hate. It's their government. Um, the Israeli government is not perfect either, but there's not really a comparison because the Israeli government doesn't have as part of its existence that they want to kill everybody in Iran. They don't really have it in their charter or in their existence. They really want to kill anybody, especially a whole nation of people. Um, you'll hear the same people saying Israel wants a genocide while they're advocating for the Hamas in Gaza, which does have genocide of Israelis and Jews as part of their existence. So it's kind of a weird dynamic. I've heard people compare it to, Russia and Ukraine, but that's not really a valid comparison either because Vladimir Putin does not have it in his mind that he wants to kill everybody in Ukraine. He's never expressed that, and neither has the Russian government. That doesn't make him a saint, but he's not out there to kill everybody in Ukraine. Um, Nor do the people in Ukraine want to kill all the Russian people either. It's a different, when you get in the Middle East, it's a completely different dynamic. But I find it funny that so many people in the United States, especially on the left, seem to have a real hatred for Netanyahu, the Israelis, and Jews. Yet so many people who are Jewish are on the left. But look at Israel, okay? Israel is like the San Francisco of the Middle East. Gay people can get married, they can show public affection. Um, you have high taxes, you have a big government, you have a generous social welfare state, um, you have uh, a lot of things that the left would like as far as tolerance is concerned. Um, Socialized healthcare and you know um, the state. It's a Jewish state, but yet they still have religious freedom for the most part. So, it's got a lot of things and very strict gun laws. So they have a lot of things that the left would like. A gay Muslim man can hold hands with his Jewish boyfriend and they can walk down the street of Tel Aviv and they're protected by the laws of the government. Um, you know, you couldn't do that in any of the Muslim nations around it for very long. You'd end up thrown off of a building. So it is kind of weird that people are pushing a pro-gay, pro-trans movement in the United States, yet they're allied with Hamas. You'll see the Queers for Palestine banners. It's like we are in a weird place in this country. Nothing seems to make sense anymore. But I don't want to see the United States get drawn into this. I don't know what back channel communications there were between Trump and Netanyahu. I would bet a cold beer that he didn't really say, do it with our blessing, but Trump probably said, baby, you got to do what you got to do because those people over there are really, really bad. It probably went something like that. So, and Bibi said, okay, Mr. Trump, we want your blessing to defend our country. It was probably a conversation that went something like that. But, it's really tough what's going on over there. And there's not going to be an easy solution. But the cool thing about Iran, I've met people from Iran and they'll call themselves Persians, which is correct for the most part, but they've always been very pro-Western and very pro-American and, really, really nice, kind, decent people. It's their government that screwed up. And they had that revolution in 79 that ironically the United States kind of paved the way for that to happen. But that's another story for another day when they deposed the Shah. But, you know, um, is there going to be a revolution inside of Iran where they take it back from the mullahs and the clerics and they move in a more Western direction? I don't know. But as far as the Israelis, they deliberately targeted military installations, nuclear enhancement sites, and things like that were a direct threat to them. They just didn't go in and start carpet bombing the place. What Iran did, they fired a bunch of rockets indiscriminately at Israel. The Iranians and the other Islamic terrorists are trying to inflict as much civilian casualties, as much death as possible on the Israeli people, which are not all Jewish, by the way. There are Christians and Druze and Muslims and atheists and probably some Buddhists living there as well. But they're trying to inflict maximum casualties. When the Israelis fight, they're trying not to have as many civilian casualties. It's just interesting. It's what now my cat has got the zoomies this morning. One of them does anyway, but it's a situation where it's asymmetric warfare, and you have two different sides playing by different rules. So, let's hope they knocked out the ballistic missile sites and the uranium centrifuge and, all that stuff. Say hello, cat. Hi. Let's hope that they knock that stuff out. I don't know what else is going to happen out there, but if you're a religious person, pray for peace. If you're not a religious person, cross your fingers and hope for the best. Whatever works for you. That's it for today. I'm saddened when this kind of thing happens, but it was sort of inevitable. I didn't see any way around it. The Israelis cannot afford to dilly-dally around. They've got so many threats going on right now. And then here in the United States, tomorrow we've got the No Kings protests. As I said in another video, it's best just to don't engage with people. Just stay away from crowds, big cities, open air markets, sporting events, somewhere where there's going to be a lot of people together where somebody up to no good could cause a lot of harm. Just keep yourself away from it. If you come through a protest, just don't engage with people. Wish them a good day, smile, say how you doing, say good to see you out here. Just be nice. Always be nice until it's time to not be nice. And hopefully that time doesn't come this weekend. But it's also Donald Trump's birthday. It's the birthday of the United States Army. Hooah, 250 years. And it's also Flag Day. So if you have a flag, put out your flag tomorrow. June 14th is Flag Day. And today is Friday the 13th. So that's kind of bizarre. Come on, cat. Now my cat is trying to scratch herself on the computer. These cats, they own the house and they let us live here. We got two of them. The other one's a little less active. They're sisters. But anyway, I hope everybody has a good day, and just, even when other people don't deserve it, be nice. That's it for today.